Yeah.
Now we're on.
Hey, we are on. What do you know?
Welcome.
Welcome to the Vinny Mac Show, the return of Vinny Mac. Now,
After so long, when's the last time we did a show? Probably at least 2 or 3 years ago.
no.
It was such a big hit almost 20 years ago that they asked us 20 years later to do it again.
We finally got rid of fat baboons and everybody like that. So welcome back to the Vinny Mac Show. It is a pleasure to be on Facebook Live. This is my first time ever doing this, and thanks to Kaye Lazar right here, he said, "Come on by and do a Facebook Live show." So I happily obliged.
Yes. Anyone who wants to do a launch their own TV show, just come see me. I'm appearing on a TV show every day. It's kind of fun.
I think you'll hit that Regis streak pretty soon.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's gotta pick up the slack. Hey, I have one more thing to say. I have one more thing to say. I need Kelly or Kathy Lee or somebody. But until then, you're gonna be great.
Well, this is wonderful. I can't believe we're on Facebook
Yes.
Live, and you have been a veteran of Facebook Live, and
Yes.
this is my
I've been doing it for at least 3 or 4 weeks.
yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That is 3 or 4 weeks more than I have been doing it. So this is my maiden voyage. So welcome to the Vinny Mac Show, and we will hope to entertain you as best as possible. So basically, the way the Vinny Mac Show will go is we usually have a bunch of topics, and we'll do about 12 minutes on each topic. We got 5 topics, but we're only going to talk about 4. So it's almost like PTI, if you remember, pardon the interruption. So he's basically Kornheiser, and I'm Michael Wilbon.
There you go. Kornheiser, more hair. Well, not lately, but I was on a few shows up until last week where I'm not kidding. I look like a hippie the way my hair looks, and I look like a girl, as my dad would say. And then I got it all cut because now I have to. I guess now I got to look for work, and nobody's been working all this time for. But now I have to be civilized and everything, and appear on television.
Yes,
Yeah, my loss is your loss. Now we got
Unfortunately,
Kornheiser. I could
yeah.
barely see. It shows you how bad my eyesight is. I
Uh-huh.
could barely see the screen. I need my glasses. And the first few times I was on Zoom
Uh-huh.
during this pandemic, I thought everything was out of focus. I thought
Right.
that the computer was out of focus,
Uh-huh.
but it was really just me. The
Your
computer was
eyes.
fine.
Yeah, your
So
eyes are out of focus.
yeah. So
We're gonna have to fix that.
but it's great. It's great. Glad to have me
Thank
on the
you
show.
so much. Thank
I'm Kaye
you.
Lazar, and of course, we go back a long way. We've been friends for more than
Yes.
20 years, and
Yes.
we've been been in the theater together. We also were on TV,
Yes.
the Gorgeous George show, and now
Yes.
and the Vinny Mac show, and
The Mac
we always
Show.
seem to run into each
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
And believe it or not, we have even done a movie together.
What was the movie?
It was a horror movie, but we cannot say. No, no, it was actually
The movie was a horror. I don't know if it was a horror movie. No, what was the movie?
Adams, I believe. The Adams movie,
Oh,
or
John Adams.
No, maybe not John Adams.
I was in John Adams.
I take that back. I didn't do John Adams. I did what was that movie with that kid in the ballpark?
Mickey.
Mickey, yes.
I could tell you all about that movie. I'm one of the few people who has a DVD of that movie.
Really?
Yeah, so you know, and I the only time I ever heard anything about that movie was John Grisham was interviewed on one of the talk shows and said, "What's the biggest mistake you ever made?" He goes, "Financing my own movie." And then I was wondering what movie was that, and it was that movie we were in. It went right to video. It was a very low budget film.
Yes.
It was about, and he wrote it. John Grisham wrote it, the famous, lawyer who writes novels. and like The Firm is probably
Oh, I love The
most
Firm.
well, I mean, but this was the first thing he ever had anything to do with. Usually, he sold. Usually, you know what they say about what Hemingway said about books.
Right.
He wrote that you sell to Hollywood, you go to the Nevada or Arizona border, and you throw your book over into California, and they throw a pot of money, not but like that bag of money with the dollar sign you see in the cartoons. And then you take your money, and then they do whatever they want with that movie, with your book. But this was the first time he ever actually wrote anything for the movies,
Mhm.
and it was about a guy on the run, played by Harry Connick, the singer.
Yes.
And I think, and I'll tell you something about Harry Connick in a moment.
Mhm.
And his son was in the Little League, on his way to the Little League World Series in Williamsport. A lot of it was filmed in Richmond.
Yes.
And I found out something about making a movie about baseball.
Uh-huh.
All you need is about 3 or 4 ballparks
Yeah.
and dress them up because
Yep.
they all look the same. You put the same extras in the stands wearing different
Yes.
hats, and
Yes.
you can make it rather reasonably. If you have a good enough script, you can have a reasonably good story. And the script, the movie was fine as a movie. Was fine, just didn't make a whole lot of money.
Wow.
In fact, I don't think it was ever released, but you could probably find it on DVD. I bought it when Blockbuster went out of business. They actually had a couple of them, and I bought them all, which I felt bad. I've given them to people I know that was in Mickey. And what did you do in Mickey?
I just sat in the stands, and I sat in the stands with two of our closest friends from the theater, Stacy and Tracy Frame, and
I
I
remember
was
seeing their mom in it.
yeah,
She looked real. I mean, and then I'm in it like 3 times
yes,
in the first like 5 minutes,
uh,
and then you don't see me the rest of the. I mean, I play different parts. I'm in the stands. I play a groundskeeper, and then
uh,
I'm just a guy walking down the street with Harry Connick. I mean, while he's walking the other way, we're not like
right.
together. Even though I got my picture taken with him, that was good. Now, so John Grisham paid for this, finance this movie,
Uh-huh.
and you could always financing a movie you could do, but it doesn't matter how much a movie costs. So much as you have to get into theaters and get people to buy tickets for it, and that just didn't
Oh
happen. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
anyway, um, in fact, one of the days I was there, a van opened up with a bunch of uniformed actors in it, and I saw John Grisham, and I recognized him. I said, "Hey, John, how you
Uh-huh.
doing?" And he said, "Oh, hi." I don't think anyone else recognized him, but I knew him because I knew who John Grisham was.
Of course, of course.
Lives in
Yes,
Charlottesville, from Mississippi.
yes.
Yeah,
John Grisham, what a great
yeah,
guy.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, speaking of ballparks that you could change everything out, I think Major League was the movie that started that trend, along with I think maybe The Natural or something like that.
A lot of good baseball movies.
Yeah, a lot of good baseball
A lot of
movies.
lousy ones too.
Oh, a lot of lousy ones. Oh my
Well,
goodness.
what the Babe Ruth story, William Bendix. Babe Ruth batted left-handed,
Yes.
and because the actor was right-handed, they never got the. And he looked like he was like 60 years old when the Babe was supposed to be like 25 or
Yes,
30.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he looked like Jay Leno playing the Babe. Which is true. Yeah.
Well,
What's your favorite baseball movie?
Major League is my favorite baseball movie, along with the Bad News Bears, the original,
Oh yeah.
and the Bad News Bears go to Houston,
Yeah.
and I think it's Breaking Train or something
Breaking
like that.
Trading. Yeah.
And Bad News Bears go to Japan.
Yes.
I love those
With Tony
movies.
Curtis. Yeah.
Tony Curtis and The Natural, and there's one other baseball movie I like. I just can't think of it right
Yeah.
now. Oh, A League of Their Own.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
League
yeah,
of Their Own. I was watching some of that the other night, and I really like A League of Their Own because it was one of the few times you actually see a good woman's athletic
yeah.
film,
Yes.
because usually most athletics are male driven, and that was really good. Now I
Hmm.
got to tell you about there are two baseball aficionados that I actually saw give a lecture. One was Tom Wolfe, and he
Oh,
wrote The Bonfire of the Vanities. He
yes.
actually tried out for, I think, the New York Giants baseball team back in the early 50s. He loves baseball, or he's dead now. And then George Will,
Wow.
who's still alive, is a big baseball
Yes.
fan and has written books about the baseball. And both, and I saw them both at different times.
Uh-huh.
Both at the University of Richmond. Now that I think about it.
Oh, wow.
And what was weird was they once, I think it was George Will thought hated the one with Kevin Costner and Burt Lancaster. What was that one called?
Don't know.
A Field of
A
Dreams.
Field of Dreams. Ah, yes. That sounds
Okay, and but the other guy, Tom Wolfe, who's a smart guy too, thought Field of Dreams was the best baseball film. And I think I think he also liked The Natural, which is actually not is more of a fable, not much of a realistic movie, even though it's based on a true guy who it's a fictionalized version of something that actually did happen.
Okay, I got it.
But then there was Field of Dreams is truly a fantasy.
Yes, yeah. Oh, yes, it is.
But I thought it was weird how two guys who loved baseball and wrote about it, both of them had different takes on the same movie that is actually a beloved film, Burt Lancaster's film, last film. Yeah.
I also like, before we go into the topics, I also like The Babe. John Goodman played him, I believe. Yes, I thought that movie was pretty good.
The Babe.
Yeah.
But they've never. Actually, The Babe is pretty good. It's better than, like I said, the William Bendix one. There's also one made for television, which was very low budget because of the TV movie. The one with John Goodman's a bigger film. They're both, anything about The Babe. The Babe is the greatest sports hero of all time. I mean, somebody said that if I think it was Pete Rose who said that if The Babe played Tiddlywinks, Tiddlywinks would now be the national pastime. He had that personality. In fact, he was the one who brought after the Black Sox scandal in 1919. He was the one who brought baseball back to because people almost wrote it off altogether.
Yes, thanks to Cheapskate Comiskey. Yeah, that's another story there. And 42 is a good movie too.
Oh, well, that's really good. 42 is really good. Yeah. Actually, that's probably my favorite film. 42 baseball film. My favorite football film is North Dallas 40, and my favorite basketball film, I guess, Hoop Dreams, which is a documentary. Hockey film, Miracle.
Yeah, Miracle.
What else?
Yeah.
Slapshot is pretty good, but Miracle is actually more uplifting. Slapshot's not uplifting.
One of
Paul Newman.
Great. Yeah. Well, today I figure our topics, when we roll into here, is going to be a choice out of these. Let's see. It's going to be today, sports, travel, restaurants, movies, or TV.
Now, we already said sports and movies. What? Okay, good night, everyone. We're already gone halfway through. And we're only gone 3 minutes into the show.
And we've already discussed all our topics. But I got all of this wonderful topic paper here. And Kevin and I, we're going to choose. We're going to choose our fate for this live Facebook.
All right.
Oh.
Can you believe we didn't prepare at all for this show?
We
yes.
Like, you know what? We prepared more than everybody on network television.
Yes. Some shows, some shows just look like they're just making it up sometimes.
They are. Kind of remind me of a couple shows I know, but I won't get into that.
Radio shows are definitely like that.
Oh, yeah.
Sports radio is gosh. Is that
oh, my
goodness. I think
what's going on?
What's going on?
I just got 50 cents.
Do you know that a lot of things to talk about sports? Did they? I guess Washington's already picked their new name.
Well, yeah, technically.
You know what? I think I know what they should do.
What's that?
They don't really need a name. Huh? They just have. Remember Prince had that symbol.
Oh.
Just put that on the side of their head that no one pronounced. Put that on the side of their helmets instead of an Indian, and then they could call it the team formerly known as the Redskins. That's what we call it, Prince.
Yeah, TFR.
And you know the craziest thing about Prince was, even though he said I'm no longer Prince and I'm the artist formerly known as Prince, he was Prince. We still call him Prince.
Right. He was Prince. Come on.
And the news didn't call him Prince because he wouldn't give an interview. He called him something else. But But Prince, yeah, I got the new Prince album. You need
Yeah.
something else? I said, no, it's Prince.
Trust me, if he was still alive today, he probably would do our show because we would call him Prince. It's like,
Prince was actually his real name.
Prince,
Yeah, I mean, Prince Rogers Nelson was his real
yes,
name.
yes, that is his real name.
Rogers Nelson sounds so.
Rogers
Mr. Whitebread, Mr. Boring. Prince!
Prince. It's like, yes, I actually want to do all these videos for everybody. I have my new record guitar coming out right now.
Have you been to any restaurants lately? Because I went to a restaurant recently and it was a meal fit for Prince. Here, Prince! Here, Prince!
Ouch. Well, Kevin, I am going to let you start off the show by picking one of these wonderful topics.
Start off
here.
the show.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to start off the show, even though we're already 20, 30 minutes into
I hold in my hand.
it. Yes, cognac.
27. What's 24 and 3? Okay. Restaurants.
Oh, let's show it to the viewers out there. We're going to talk about
See?
I don't know if they can see
Wow,
it.
yeah, they could. Yeah, can't you read?
Yeah.
It's written with invisible ink.
That's right. This is Sesame
But I can
Street.
read it, and I know it's restaurants.
That's right. Restaurants. Well, since we were just going into topics of restaurants, especially here in the Richmond area, what are your favorite restaurants? What type of food do you like to go after?
I like all food. I mean, I go to a restaurant. This is before the pandemic.
Before
I really haven't been to a restaurant. I actually been to one, and I'll tell you about that in a
Okay.
moment. But it didn't work out so well. It worked out fine at the restaurant, but it didn't work out. And what I really like, I like Subway a lot, and I like sandwiches. But right now it's just takeout. Now let me tell you about. I've said this on a few other shows. Restaurants are actually no fun anymore because they make you wear a mask.
Yes.
You can't sit with anybody. You have there's no one to meet there. There you're there just to fill your pie hole and then leave. And if I'm just going to fill my pie hole, I might as well just eat at home.
Yes,
Eat my
exactly.
my bananas and peanut butter sandwich. Hey, baby. And then so all that's left is the sparkling personalities of the waiters. I'd rather talk to you.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
anyway, so restaurants. Let's see. Okay, let me tell you about the restaurant I went to. I went to a restaurant with a bunch of friends. Okay, now this is a terrible story about that. And they went to phase 2 and they opened up restaurants. And so people started going. They said, oh, okay, I guess everything's all's well. So what happened was we went to the restaurant, and what happened was everyone was eating outside, which was great.
Okay.
But then they said all our tables are filled up outside. You want to eat inside? And I was with a group of like 8 people. And said, oh, okay, let's go. We were here. So we all like sat really close. All 8 people at like a picnic table. It looked like we're all like this. We all had our masks on. And then the food came. We briefly took it off to eat, and then put it on. So then the next week they said, "You want to go to a restaurant again?" And then, it actually at that point the coronavirus spiked even worse than when it was in phase 2. So then we said no. And then I thought maybe after 2 weeks, I said, what were we thinking? Being in that restaurant with all these strangers and everything, just infecting ourselves. So I really don't feel like going to any restaurants until the coast is clear.
Until the coast is clear. It's like send the sweeping of whatever cloud over I still call it the COVID-19 coronavirus. Get it out of here, because I'm sick of you. Oh my goodness.
Now, what have you been up to with restaurants? You still eat at the takeout and stuff like that?
Once in a while I do. But
what have you got?
Let's see. I've gotten recently a few IHOPs. I love IHOP.
Oh,
Breakfast is one of my favorite meals, no matter what time of the day. I love breakfast. But I also love seafood. Love seafood. I try not to go any fast foods, especially the McDonald's, because McDonald's, it's you folks out there probably already know. It's like as soon as you look at a McDonald's, you gain 5 pounds. The only time I ever go to a McDonald's is just to use a bathroom. And then I leave.
They have a problem with that. I mean, they have a problem that people go in there like a truck stop too.
Yeah.
And in New York, it's even worse because it's very hard to find a bathroom. So a lot of times you wind up going to get a cup of coffee at McDonald's just to use their bathroom,
Oh yeah.
which
Yeah.
is trouble because once you drink the coffee, you want to go to the bathroom even more.
Yeah.
I'm here for I have to go 3 times, and Starbucks is even worse. I mean,
Oh yes.
they just
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so much coffee there.
Uh-huh.
I never understood Starbucks. I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
Coffee at home is very cheap,
Yes.
and but it's very expensive there.
Yes.
But I mean, it might be all right. But coffee is coffee.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Starbucks is, I have this problem with a lot of like girlfriends, is that they want to go to Starbucks, get in the drive-through, get the delicious coffee,
Oh yeah.
pay
Yeah,
$5 or $6 for it, and leave. I said, wait a minute. We're paying all this money for the coffee. We're not here to leave. We're here to sit and hear the music and listen to
Yes.
CDs and
Yes.
read the magazines and use the
Yes.
Wi-Fi. This is part of the price of
Yes.
being here.
Yes.
It's not just the coffee.
No.
It's the atmosphere. It's the
Yes.
ambiance.
I never go to Starbucks. I'm not a coffee drinker, but Starbucks, it smells nice. At least it smells nice. But yeah, it's like you definitely would have to use the bathroom in Starbucks. But definitely do it at McDonald's. You just go to the front counter, order a quarter pounder, use the bathroom, and then just leave. That's all you should do.
Did you know that the mayor of New York, de Blasio, they give people a hard time. They give them, but I tell you, if you're in New York, I got to tell you something good he did.
Oh.
Is that if there's a storm, you can, and you could hang in the restaurant, not the rest, in the store as long as it's storming. It's a public space at that point.
Okay.
Also, if you're in a place like Starbucks, there's a lot of coffee places, but Starbucks is probably the most famous.
Yeah.
You don't have to get coffee. You can just sit there and use the Wi-Fi. It's a public space. I'm not kidding you. I was with a friend of mine for 2 hours at Starbucks. We didn't want to drink their garbagey coffee. we wanted to sit. It was cold outside, and we wanted to talk for the male friend of mine. It was late at night. We couldn't sit in the Central Park or anything,
Right.
but we could sit in Starbucks. If you want, and no one ever came to bother us, which is nice. New York, they're very nice. They're always nice to me. I don't know about other people.
I don't know about me. It's like they look at me and it's like, oh, that guy needs to go to jail.
Wow.
But
I was that way as a teenager.
Uh-huh.
I was always being stopped by security guards in stores because I was always loitering. I was always reading the magazine. I was always reading the National Enquirer. I would spend all day like in the library is closed. And I always put that as a like years later when I could afford to go to these stores, I didn't go to those stores because if they were still around. There's one place in town, Westbury Pharmacy, which they were very mean to you if you picked up a magazine to read. So I get my medicine and somewhere else from my connection.
I just keep on thinking. It's like Westbury Pharmacy. He just keeps on going.
I get my medicine from Donald Trump's doctor.
Hey, so do I. So do I.
You see that guy?
But to tell you the truth, there is one store that I really don't like is Safeway. I know we're going off the topic.
Safeway?
Of restaurants.
You go to Safeway in Richmond?
When they had them in Richmond.
They had them. Well, because of you, they don't have them anymore.
That's right. And I'm so proud of that. But I had a bad experience at Safeway.
Oh, man. Well, they're no longer, And I got arrested. Well, not arrested, but I got kicked out of a store that was it wasn't Best Products, but it was like a competitor of Best. And I came to give you some idea. I don't even remember the name of the place, but it was there like maybe for less than 2 years, and they went out of business. And I said, good. Best was always nice to me.
Well, sometimes I do go to the Chinese restaurants, even though a lot of them now just doing at this moment, at this time that we're doing the video, a lot of them are doing grab and goes and
what's that? Like takeout?
Yeah, takeout. They like call it grab and go now, which that don't make no sense. Grab it and go. It's like, can I just grab it and eat here just for a few moments? But no, gotta go.
I'm not a big food guy. I prefer to kiss girls, but you know, I heard a comedian talking about how you how how you go to a show or you go to a restaurant and you want to go, you just go out because you want to go home with the girl, with the woman, and she wants the night to last long and long,
Yeah.
and you almost wish that the comedian and the nightclub would be finished already so I could take her home. Why do I have to eat this food? Oh, it's to take this girl home. I just can't go to her house and say, "Hey, let's go, let's go, let's go to the back room."
It'll be just your luck. The comedian has a long 2 hour show.
I know.
It's like, what the heck, comedian?
What was weird was the comedian was actually telling the same jokes while I was there, and half the men, or should I say, half the people, which were the men, agreed with him. I mean, he said, "Yeah, when are you going to finish the show so we can go home and take her home? Because that's all I'm here for. I'm not here for the entertainment. That's the entertainment is going to come later."
But yeah, usually I take my friends out to a couple restaurants, very good restaurants. One friend, she likes mainly Chinese food. Another friend of mine, she likes seafood. So it's like, hey, right up my alley. But have you ever gone to a bad restaurant? I just go to whatever restaurant that might floats my friends' boats, or if I'm on the road by myself, I just say, "Hey, this restaurant looks good. I'm gonna try it."
I'll tell you a bad restaurant. I'm not going to tell you the name of it.
Right,
But
right.
I mean, it could be any restaurant that serves chicken tenders, and everyone likes chicken tenders.
Yes, yes,
Or like fish and chips.
yes.
It's the same thing. The if it's a dried out husk with breading that
Oh,
that just tastes like salt and breading rather than real food, then that's to me is a bad restaurant. I
right,
mean, I make it
right.
a point. They might serve something other like maybe hamburgers better or hot dogs or whatever. But in other words, you have the chicken tenders at a place once. Don't I had a friend. I'm not kidding you.
Okay.
I had a friend that every time I took her to a particular restaurant, she ordered the fish and chips, and she goes, "I hate the fish and chips here." I said, "Well,
What?
why do you order it?" Order it. He goes, "I'm always hoping it'll get better." I said, "It ain't
Ah,
gonna get any better. Order something else. I'm not
yes.
bringing you out to eat the junk that you don't like."
Stop spending my money.
Stop.
That's
She was a nice woman.
good. That's good.
But I'd rather she enjoy what the
Yeah.
dinner I got for her.
Oh,
It's always a better plus.
yeah, fish and chips. That's hard to really try to create in such a let's just say established American restaurant.
Yeah.
But I had the best fish and chips when I was over in England,
Wow.
where it all started. Fish and chips.
They do it. They do it so well there. Fish and
Yeah,
chips.
fish and chips. I had some in Manchester, England. It was really nice, and also in London too. It was really
I
nice.
tell you what, I would because I used to live in that area. I lived in Ireland for uh, several years, and what happened was 3 years, not several years. But what happened was I would get fish and chips all the time.
Hmm.
Chicken fingers or chicken fingers they call them. The chicken tenders, was the same thing. They did not catch on. Probably now they have, but at the time it was like fish and
Right,
chips.
right.
And what happened was they would put vinegar on them,
What?
malt vinegar on them.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
sometimes you
yeah.
go like to a fish and chips place, and they
Uh-huh.
will have it on the table for you to put it on there.
Uh-huh.
I actually like it. I like it better than like ketchup or something.
Uh-huh.
But I like the malt vinegar and oh, I went to a fish and chips, not a fish. Well, I guess it was. They call it a chipper, which they sell, maybe hot dogs
Oh
and hamburgers
yes,
and
yes.
fish and chips. And it was in Scotland. They had haggis and
Haggis.
chips, haggis and chips.
Oh,
And
oh my
which
goodness.
I said,
Yes.
I wonder why this never caught on in America. And I looked up on a list of foods they don't serve that are not allowed to be served in America. And haggis is one. Haggis is the stomach of a goat, I think.
Goat, yeah, or
Yeah,
sheep, I
or
believe.
sheep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so even that sounds awful, but it's not as bad as it sounds. What happens is they take the lining of the sheep's stomach,
Uh-huh.
and then they stuff it full of stuffing, sort of like
Cabbage, right?
Well, a lot of things. It's almost like
Okay.
Thanksgiving turkey stuffing. I mean, it's sort of
Oh,
like a
okay,
lot of
okay,
that.
okay.
Then they bread it
Uh-huh.
like a fish and chips or chicken tenders,
Uh-huh.
and then they deep fry it all, and
Uh-huh.
then you can put whatever you want on there, vinegar or ketchup or something, and then. Let me tell you something. By the time you finish eating it, you don't really think of it as a sheep stomach. It's just something you eat.
So basically, they won't do haggis here in America, but we got chitlins.
Chitlins is actually chitterlings are actually, I think is a step past haggis. So I've had chitlins at a friend's house. Only had a
Mhm.
taste of it, but he was actually making them,
Yes.
and I was kind of curious. I see it didn't kill other people, so let's see how I was. And I'm not saying it tasted bad, but I had a bite of it and said, okay, that now I can tell people I had it. Didn't kill me. I'm still here.
That's good. That's good. Well, chitlins, if you go to a soul food restaurant, they can cook it pretty well, but nothing's better than homemade chitlins. I like chitlins, but it's a little adequate taste. But
I don't know
anyway,
why anyone would go to a restaurant and get chitlins when you could get something. I mean, at home I could understand.
yeah, yeah.
There's nothing left to eat. Let's have the chitlins. But a restaurant, you have a whole menu of food.
Yeah.
Oh, the chitlins, number one is what I want. Oh, I gotta tell you a funny story
Yeah,
about. Oh, let me ask you a question,
sure.
and then I'll go say what I want to say. What was the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Chitlins?
No, the
Your
weirdest,
travels?
yeah, the weirdest thing I have ever eaten was probably liver.
What?
Yeah,
Just typical liver?
just typical liver because liver was is really strange. Um, I don't think I've ever eaten a lot of strange things because a lot of food that some restaurants put out is so good. It's like seafood surprise or the Norfolk special if you go to Captain George's. That's some weird combo there, but it tastes good. Tastes real good.
I I uh I once had a little contest with a friend of mine
Uh-huh.
about trying to top what we've eaten. And it says, I think he said, I've eaten squirrel. And then I said, well, I've eaten,
Oh.
at the time it was kind of exotic. It's not so exotic anymore. Squid, what's that stuff called?
Calamari?
Calamari. I
Calamari.
had
Yeah.
calamari in
Yeah.
Spain. And then he said, well, then I've had maybe chitterlings or something. I didn't have it at that time. And then I said, well, I've had tongue, which my grandmother once gave me,
Oh.
and I didn't like it. So we're trying to top each other,
Uh-huh.
and then someone heard ours in the next room and said, "I got top you all what I've eaten."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "What have you eaten?" And she said, "I've eaten a hot dog. I don't know what's in a hot dog. At least what you were eating, you knew what we were
Yeah,
eating."
yeah, yes.
Now they had a food festival at the Virginia Science Museum, which they had every year, and they had
Uh-huh.
all this exotic food, and um, and it was like from different countries, and it was
Oh,
like
yes.
Chinese food, egg
Yeah,
rolls. It
yeah,
wasn't that all
yeah.
that crazy. But then they actually had in the I don't know why this was there because it was all foreign food, but that African American food. They actually said African American food, and it
Uh-huh.
was a pig's foot.
Yes, and I've eaten pig's feet, and
Yeah,
that was really strange.
yeah.
Yes.
So I never had a pig's foot. It was very cheap. It was only like less than $2,
Yeah.
like $1.75 or something. So I said, I've never had one.
Uh-huh.
I've eaten pork. I like bacon and pork chops and stuff like that. So
Uh-huh.
this should be sort of like that. So before he gave it to me, the guy said, "Well, it's let me tell you about it. It's almost all skin and a
Yeah,
very
it
very
is.
cartilagely
Yes,
bone,
yes.
and you're gonna have to really dig for the meat. But for a
Yes.
dollar
Oh
seventy
my
five,
goodness.
you'll do fine. Okay.
Oh.
So I ate it,
Huh?
and okay, I ate it. That was fine. And then later on, I went to a party. My sister had her engagement party, and they got married that night.
Uh-huh.
And it was a big day that my sister Deirdre got married.
Oh.
And what happened was that was the day that she got married. But if she didn't get married
Wow.
that day,
Uh-huh.
it would have been the day I had my first pig's foot. Now the pig's foot, they call them in Ireland. They have a word for them, crew beans.
Crew beans.
It's an Irish word, and they
Uh-huh.
call them crew beans. And they have a little saying in Ireland
Uh-huh.
that women will have to make it for their husbands and stuff. And it was and a lot of people don't know what crew beans are until they, oh, it's a pig's foot. And the saying went, crew beans in the kitchen, crew beans in the pan. If you don't make crew beans, you'll never get a man.
Oh, wow.
Kind of show you how old fashioned they are. Where I used to live, yeah.
Well, I will tell you one thing before we close this topic. When I was in Japan, the strangest thing, I should have said this first. I did eat sea anemone.
Sea anemone?
Yes,
Wow.
sea
That little
anemone.
flower that's alive.
Yeah, yeah.
The tentacles.
Yes,
I see in the National Geographic.
Yeah.
shows. What was that like?
It tasted pretty good, but somehow they got rid of all those the extra stuff, and it's really weird. That's all I can say.
Did they put any sauce on it, like horseradish or mayonnaise or something?
I forgot what they did.
Wait, I know it. Did they have that shrimp cocktail sauce?
I only had like maybe 2 or 3, and that was it. And I was like, okay, I had enough of this.
Yeah, three flowers.
Yeah.
And then, what was I gonna say about? I heard a story about eating clams and oysters. Now, when you eat oysters, if you eat them, do you eat them like cooked or do you eat them raw?
I gotta eat them cooked because
Yeah,
I
know
like
what you're saying.
raw.
I know what you're saying. I know where you come from because when I was growing up, you showed how tough you were by how raw they were. I mean, you basically open them up and scoop them out and eat them pretty much alive.
Yeah.
And then we figured out, and then, you ever seen these things? There's just mud on them and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't, you just open them. I mean, it's basically just eating. It's basically like going to the beach and eating. Out of sand.
Eat sand.
So anyway, you have these clams. So anyway, we're trying to show how tough we were by how raw we could eat them, and we found out that some people ate more of them than others by pouring all this like Tabasco sauce, pouring all this butter sauce on it. And then I said, I think I know the secret to eating raw oysters. And he goes, what's that? He goes, you make sure it doesn't taste like an oyster.
Oh.
That's why we only got to barely half of one.
Yeah. Hey,
every time I open an oyster, I think I'm going to find a pearl.
That's right.
And I never have.
You never have. It's like, make sure you don't swallow the pearl now. You'll be like, oh, I got a big old pearl in my stomach. Now I got to wait until it comes out the other end.
You think it's going to happen, and then
it doesn't happen. And it's like,
and every time I go on a plane, I think it's going to crash. So every time I buy a lottery ticket, I think I'm going to win like $1 million.
Yeah.
And every time I go to get a clam, I think I'm going to get a pearl. So let's do it. I've never won $1 million on a lottery ticket.
All right.
I've never gotten a pearl out of a clam. However, I've been in enough planes and none of them have crashed. Yay. So I consider myself a winner.
Yay! Congratulations. Oh my goodness. We don't ever want to hear about that. No. Well, let's see what the next topic is. I'm going to pick that one. Let's see. Oh, wait, no, I picked something. Next topic to talk
restaurants
about.
Again? Are they open restaurants?
Oh, sports. Sports, my favorite topic, sports.
And what you have the Islanders?
Yes.
Long Island?
The New York Islanders.
The New York Islanders.
The hockey team. And of course my Washington.
Dennis Potvin.
Yes, Dennis Potvin and the Miracle. Well, I shouldn't say no, not the Miracle on Ice. The
you're there.
Well, the 4-time Stanley Cup champions in the 80s. Yeah, Potvin.
The
Islanders. And I can't think of the other.
Is that your favorite team?
No, my favorite team is the Washington Capitals.
Oh,
love the Capitals.
Oh yes, they won the Stanley Cup. Yeah. Yes.
But here's the thing about this jersey here. There's not many of these jerseys left because this is technically the illegal jersey.
Oh, what's the matter with it?
Okay.
With the fisherman?
Yes. There was.
That's Gordon.
Yeah, this is Gordon's fisherman right here. The Gordon.
This is Paul.
Yeah.
This is Mr. Paul.
What happened, Kevin, was the Gordon fisherman people were going to sue the New York
Islanders. Oh, I was kind of correct. I was making a joke.
Yeah, because they have the fisherman right here. and they used them as a logo. So in order to change it, they had to go back to the original silhouette of Long Island with the NY in it and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
there's not that many of these.
I don't want to take it. I don't
Around.
want a geography lesson when I go to a ball game.
But the Islanders were so upset because this is a cool jersey. You got
Yeah.
the lighthouses on the shoulder patch,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Yeah,
And
it's nice.
they're building a new arena too. So it's
They
going to
should
be.
play in the Barclays Center.
Oh, they have so many problems at the Barclays Center. Do you know that half the center? No, no, I take that back. 1/4 of the area is over the ice.
Yeah.
So if you sit down in the mezzanine level, you can't see the goalie down
Oh.
below. It's like you can't even see the play down here. It's like
I know.
you gotta lean over. It's
Yeah,
like,
sometimes
oh.
I've seen like Broadway shows like that
Uh-huh.
where I couldn't see what was going on, or maybe even like arenas or stadiums where like a rock and roll band was playing, and you
Uh-huh.
couldn't see like all the band.
Yeah.
You're lucky if you saw the guy in front of the microphone.
Yeah.
And that was all. And then, but sports you expect to see it all. You know, you
Yes.
can't really score a goal in where you can't see it.
I know.
Miss half the game.
Yeah.
It's like having a big pole in front of you, like in the old
True.
baseball stadiums.
That's happened to me. That's happened
Yeah.
to me at Fenway Park.
Yeah.
I had a
Well,
big
those
pole.
old parks, yeah.
Yeah, those old parks. Had a pole in front of me. It's like I couldn't see the third baseman. It's like, what is that guy doing? What is he doing?
Parker Field was that.
Yeah, Parker Field was that
My
way.
dad was telling me, he's from New York, in the Polo Grounds, there was a big like hill right overlooking the Polo Grounds
Uh-huh.
in the I guess where the bleachers near past where the bleachers were.
Yes.
And kids would go up there and see it, but the whole point of it was you could not see the batter. You could see the ball hit into
Oh.
they obscured it so that you could see the ball in the outfield, but and you see the guy throw it. I go, and then you can only tell from the cheering of the whether he got out or made it got a run or got safe a third or something. Wow.
Oh, man.
So I said, but Dad, why'd you waste your time? It was free. I mean, it's better than staying home watching it on the radio, listening to it on the radio before television.
Well, I take that back. That also happened to me at Wrigley Field too. Wrigley Field, I was in the upper deck, same problem, except at least I could see the batter. I just couldn't really see too much of the pitcher.
Yeah. So you've been to Wrigley Field.
Yes.
You've been. Tell me all the ballparks you've been to. The baseball parks.
I've been to I think 26 out of 31.
Wow.
Yes.
What's on your list that you haven't been to? That's on your list.
What's on my list? I have not been to the one in California where the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim play.
Yeah.
I still call them California Angels, Anaheim
I do.
Stadium.
Yeah, I do too.
I have not been to the new park that's now in
You've been to the
Texas.
one in Chavez Ravine.
Oh yes,
Dodger
I've
Stadium.
been to Dodger Stadium.
Yeah,
Yes,
I've been to that one.
I love that ballpark. That's nice.
Yeah.
It's sunk into the ground.
Yeah.
And you know the reason why?
Why?
It's because
It's a ravine.
no, they don't want to see. They don't want anybody to see the Dodgers play. No, actually,
winning teams.
but it's sunk into the ground because it's protected from earthquakes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, protects itself.
Actually, I would think the closer you are to the core of the earth,
I know.
more dangerous.
Yeah.
You should have it on a mountain.
Yeah, but you think that, but no, actually, the safest place to be, and that's what a lot of California residents told me, is underground.
Underground.
And I was like, okay.
I guess they know.
They do. They
I
do.
know. I think what happens during an earthquake, you just run in every room and say, I think I'm safest here. And then they probably someone went into a cellar and said, hey,
hey,
this
is great.
I'm afraid everything would fall on top of me.
Let's see. I have not been to what's that ballpark? Let's see.
I've never been to an indoor ballpark unless you count
Toronto.
Nice.
Yeah, Toronto's nice.
But it was open when I was there.
The
So
Sky Dome or Rogers Center, whatever you want to call it
Yeah.
now. I have not been to
the Texas one?
the new one in Texas. I haven't been to that one yet because they just
We went to the old one.
I went to the old one.
Arlington?
Yeah, Arlington. Now the Globe Life is now open. I haven't been to Tampa's Tropicana Field. I don't know why anybody want to go there.
Oh,
And
ball games always. Trouble is nobody's going to ball games anymore.
that's true.
They don't let you
They
in.
don't let you in. No, it's like it's attendance of zero.
Yeah.
I've never been to Busch Stadium, the new one, even though I've driven
St.
by it
Louis.
in St. Louis. But I've been to Kansas City,
Hmm.
but I've never been to St. Louis. And I'm trying to think of some other ballparks. I think there's only like a couple more.
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, I drove by the one in Cincinnati, the
Yeah.
one in Riverfront Stadium, which Synergy Field or First Star
Yeah.
Field they call it now. I've never been to that one.
Yeah. I've never. A lot of times when I go to a famous city that has
Mhm.
a team, I try to go to the game because I like
Yes,
sports a lot
yes.
and I like seeing it in person. But a lot of those, like a place like Cincinnati, all I would really want to do there is go to a ball game.
Yeah.
I don't see myself doing anything else there.
I know.
I'm sure it's a nice place.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It used to be a good hub city for Delta Airlines,
Yeah.
but then Delta went away.
Yeah, that's how I was in Cincinnati was, but I was just there to get on a plane to go to
To move
Paris.
on. Paris. Let's see.
Yeah.
But every other ballpark I believe I've been to.
The only new stadium I've been to is Citi Field in New York.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I haven't been to City Field.
but there's still Shea Stadium. It's right.
Mhm.
Yeah, in fact, when I was there, it was still there next door to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they didn't do anything with it. Yeah, I think the Astrodome's still around.
It is. It's still
Yeah.
around. I don't know
Yeah.
why, but I heard that they use that for rodeos and stuff.
Rodeo.
You ever been to a rodeo?
I've been to rodeo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had a good time in Fort Worth,
yeah.
Texas. I went to the rodeo that they
It's
have
a lot
every
of fun.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
I don't know what's going on. I just watch it. I don't know who's because they all look like they're doing something I can
Oh.
never do.
Especially when you're riding the bulls, it's like,
Yeah,
whoa.
I see them like go on there and then lasso a running small bull, and then
Yes.
they'll like tie it up and they have to do it within like 15 seconds.
Yes.
And the next guy does it and wins by like 1 second.
Yeah. Yeah.
He did it in 11 seconds. And I said, oh wow. They should give everyone a prize.
Yeah, they should. Because if you can rope that calf,
Yeah,
you're better than us.
I know. I'm a city boy.
Trust me, you don't want to see me doing that. I probably rope myself. either, either that or the calf would rope me.
Yeah. So what do you have to say about sports? Any prognostications? Considering the pandemic and
Let's
everything?
see. I'm hoping the Washington Capitals will win the Stanley Cup again. We'll see how that goes. I already know the Washington Wizards. I like it for anybody who doesn't know me. I like all the teams in the Baltimore, Washington area. So the Wizards, Capitals, the former team,
Yeah.
the Nationals,
Oh yeah.
and DC United, plus the Baltimore Orioles, the Baltimore Ravens, and I like the Baltimore Blast, the indoor soccer team.
Yeah.
So I like everything in that region.
The only team I root for, because I like all sports, I like all the teams. I'm a New York Giants football team,
Yes.
and this is the first year without Eli, so I don't know what's
Yeah. What's gonna happen?
Eli is almost like Roosevelt. He's always been there. I mean, I remember Phil Sims and people like that. Frank Darden.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so long, he was never injured or anything.
Ah.
So I was a big Eli fan, and he won two Super
Yes,
Bowls.
he won
Yeah,
two
so
Super Bowls.
that's
Yes.
something to see about.
I'll take two more Super Bowls, please.
Yeah.
But with Washington, the formers, I like to
Yeah.
call them,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen to them this year. I think they're going to do all right with Chase Young that they have now and Dwayne Haskins. Another year is going to be under his belt. I'm glad he learned a lot by sitting on the sidelines, learn what not to do, and sometimes what to do. And I think he's going to do very well this year. But it's going to be a tough schedule this year for Washington.
How well did they do last year?
I think they went 5-11.
5-11.
Yeah.
They weren't in last place.
Yeah.
The Giants.
Well, yeah, maybe the Giants were in
I
last
think
place.
the Giants haven't been. Giants had this one, but the Giants. If you like New York teams, the Jets have had even a worse time because
Oh
they had
yeah.
that one year with Joe Namath.
Yep.
And then it's pretty much a bargain with the devil. You're gonna have another 50 years.
Well, really, the Jets, even though they have been unfortunately destructed,
Yeah.
but there's another team out there that's even in worse shape, and that's the Detroit Lions,
Yeah.
who's never been to a Super Bowl.
And we get to see them once a year on Thanksgiving.
Yes. Eat turkey and watch Detroit Lions football.
We love football.
But do you know the reason why some people are saying that the Lions will never make it to a Super Bowl?
No.
Well, what happened was there was a player some 50 years ago. He got upset that he was cut.
Greg Landry.
Yes.
No, Greg Landry, the quarterback?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And he got cut, and then he went off to another team. But while he was walking his way out the door, he said, "You will never reach a Super Bowl as long as I'm playing football."
He's still playing after 50 years.
So, yeah, and unfortunately, the prophecy has come true. And
Yeah.
and what's funny is that, like, I think it was 20 years later, Greg said, I'm glad you remember the name. Greg said that.
Alex Karras played for him.
Oh, that's
Webster,
right.
yeah.
Yes. Webster, yeah, that's
Webster's
right.
father.
Webster's father. It's like if you want to have a father like that, it's like, hey, Dad, can you teach me some football, even though I'm only about 4'1"?
A big guy like him, I'd be afraid he'd sit on me. Webster.
Yeah, poor Webster. It's like, sit over there, Dad. Sit over there.
So people talk about these. So I guess there's a lot of it in sports superstitions, prophecies.
Yeah.
The Boston Red Sox curse.
Yeah.
But then they won a lot of World Series in recent
World
years.
Series, yeah.
It took a while.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you a crazy prophecy when I was growing up, and you could go to your history book. Is that every 20 years the president would be elected in a year that ended in a zero, called the zero factor.
Yes.
And that president would always die in office. And you do it from, I think, 1840 with William Henry Harrison up through 1860 Lincoln. And it goes on, and then Kennedy, and then Kennedy was the last one. And then in 1980, Reagan, the oldest guy, was elected, and he went through a lot of physical problems. Yeah, cancer, and got shot, but he survived it, and that put an end to that thing. And then George W. Bush was elected in 2000. And we have a new 2020 election, but because of Reagan surviving it, that put an end to
that. Put an end to the curse.
And they said it was like American Indian curse for taking their land away.
Oh, wow.
So when you're a kid, you believe a lot of this stuff. You think there's actually some supernatural occult type thing to it. So I said to my teacher, how do they get people to run for president in like this? I guess this was 1980 or something. And the guy, I was just a kid, and the guy said, politicians are not superstitious, and neither should you. Keep your feet on the ground. These guys died just happenstance.
That's right.
Right.
Oh, God.
Because there was a president, Roosevelt. He was elected in 1932, and he was actually in a parade after he got elected, but before he became president, with the mayor of Chicago.
Yes.
And the assassin actually shot at him and killed the mayor, but he survived it. So if he would have died then, that would have put that whole theory out of whack.
Yeah.
But he wound up dying when he was elected in 1940 and 1943, I think.
Oh,
so,
wow.
But he was part of that. But he was also there for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
He was there for 14 years actually.
Oh,
and my dad told me that when Roosevelt died, everyone was so sad because a lot of people his age, he was just a kid. So that's the only president we've ever known. And Stalin was in Russia for 40 years. Yes. So when he died, a terrible guy like Stalin, people were saying, "Oh, so sad that Uncle Joseph is gone."
Oh my!
And when he died, everyone was glad. The older people certainly.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, hopefully, going back to Detroit Lions, hopefully they'll break that curse, because the guy said, "Okay, I released this bad thing off you," and he still sucked. That's what you get. Actually, Detroit was doing very well when they had Jim Caldwell as a
Yeah.
coach. Had a 10-6 record
Yeah.
like some 4 or 5 years ago, and
The wild card?
no, he missed the playoffs because I think Minnesota won their game, which had tiebreakers over Detroit,
Yeah.
and Detroit got kicked out of the playoffs. But then the next year they fired him,
Yeah.
and then they hired some bum, and now look at
Yeah.
Detroit. Now they're 3-13 again. You deserved it, Detroit. That's what you get for firing Jim Caldwell.
I gotta tell you, ask you a very important question. You know
Yes.
a lot about sports.
Mhm.
Is it Tampa Bay, Tom Brady? What's next?
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Okay, Tampa Bay Tom Brady. He'll.
'Cause that's what everyone wants to know.
I think he will get 10 wins,
Oh,
but I think it's going to be 10-6.
I mean, I think they'll, do well in the playoffs or anything?
I don't think I
They're
don't see
still a
him.
young team
They're
with
still a
a
young team.
45-year-old quarterback.
Yeah. I don't see them getting past New Orleans.
Yeah.
I don't see him getting past New Orleans.
Yeah.
But we'll talk more about probably later on.
As well, we'll
Yeah,
find out
we'll
once
find
he's
out,
on there.
yeah. Okay.
He was actually out for the season. Well, no, I was thinking the other guy from Eli's brother Peyton was out for the whole season. They thought he
Yes.
was gone,
Yes.
and then he won the Super Bowl with the
Yes.
Broncos. So Brady, if you remember, had that scandal with the deflated balls, and then he came in late to the not late the season, but after the first 4 or 5 games, and then won the Super Bowl
Yeah.
that year. So
Yeah.
so anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
You're talented, yeah.
Well, technically, we did talk about 4 topics: movie, TV, sports, and restaurants. But we still got 3 more things
I'm
in
only
here.
on page 2.
You're on page 2? Oh,
That's
I'm
my
back.
old joke. I say that on every show.
I'm still on page 1.
Send the next guy on.
Yeah. What the heck?
I'm all through. Now, okay, well, we have a few more minutes.
Yeah, we'll pick one more topic,
Okay.
Kevin, and whatever
I
it
get to
is,
do
it'll
this.
probably be a repeat topic.
Travels.
Oh, travel. Yes. Travel.
Travel.
I know, Kevin, as you are the traveling guru, and this is where we'll use this topic towards the end of our show. You're a traveling guru. I'm a traveling guru, and
A lot of times when I go somewhere, usually the first, because you're a man of the world, you're the first person I ask.
Mhm.
Have you ever been to this place? And
Yes,
and
yes.
many times like Canada or parts of America or even overseas, and I'll ask Vinny Mac about it, and then he'll give me some insight, and then from there, you don't really know a place until you go to it.
That's true. It's so true. I was very fortunate at this time last year to go to London, England, and spend a whole week in England. I've never been to England before. I had a great time, and I'll probably talk more about that trip when we have these topics and other topics again. But I enjoyed London, England. I got a chance to ride up to Manchester. I got the Euro pass.
Yeah, that's how I got around. I did that twice.
Yes.
And the first time I was in my 20s. The second time I was in my late 30s. And the second time I went on the Eurail Pass all over Europe, I went to all the places I didn't go the first time because you can't really see it all in 2 months.
Oh no,
Or even a month. But then I was, because I'm on a Eurail Pass, I could also go to places that I went the first time that I liked it so much that I went again. Like Denmark, I really like Denmark. But I didn't go to Spain the first time. I went to Spain the second time. Now tell me about London.
London was really nice.
Because I've been to London many times.
Many times because I got a chance to go to London. I took, let's see, Tower Bridge. I took over the whole entire south side of London. I went everywhere.
Yeah.
But I didn't do a tour, and I'm kicking myself because I should have done a tour just to expand my horizons on London.
Tour is good, but I didn't go on a tour either. But I tell you, if you're going to like a place that might be kind of third world or hostile or something, a tour is sometimes the only way you can go because they will kind of shield you from all the crooks and everything.
Yeah.
But a place like London is more like America. It's a free country. Paris. You could you could probably just it's good to have some direction when you're there, but if you, as long as you do your homework before you go there and know where
Yes.
you want to go. Today I go to the Tate Gallery. Tomorrow I go to the Tower Bridge. The next day I go to Buckingham Palace. That type of thing.
Yeah.
I go
Well,
to Harrods, do some shopping, and then the trip is over because you spend all your money.
spend all your money.
Because
Well,
Harrods is so expensive.
oh my goodness. Well, speaking of Buckingham Palace, I went to Buckingham Palace. I didn't do the tour, but I sat outside the gate, and this poor guard, he's doing his march and everything. And then, of course, when I'm there at Buckingham Palace, the guards, they're all stiff and they
Yeah.
all supposed to be formal. Unfortunately, while he was walking, he slipped and fell on some rocks. So then he gets up, he's trying to shake it off. Then the other guard comes on by and says, "Hey, you're all right." It's like, "Yeah, I'm all right. I can finish off my shift." And he marches back to his other guard gate. I was like, I can't believe I watched one of the people fall, one of the guardsmen fall. It's like,
Wow.
of course, on my trip.
No,
Why?
actually, that was good. People got the same thing. It's very firm. I've seen on these prank shows trying to make them laugh.
Oh
They
yeah,
want
yes,
to
yes,
see the
yes.
camera shows like that. And so you got to see something, another side,
That's true.
the lighter side
The
of the
lighter
palace guard,
side.
the palace
And
guard.
I did get a chance to go to West End to catch a play.
Oh, what was the play?
The Worst Witch, the English version, the England version,
Oh,
not the U.S. version.
American play?
No, yeah, but I think was it done in England first before the U.S. got it?
Musical?
Yeah, musical.
The worst witch, not Wicked.
No, the Worst Witch.
The worst witch.
Yeah,
Okay.
the little kid witch who's trying to
Okay.
learn all these powers and everything, and she's so bad at it, she messes up the whole school. And then
Oh,
some
wow.
villains come by and they try to take over the school, but she finds courage to defeat these villains. It was a good play. I loved it. The cast and crew was awesome.
Was there any famous people
None that I know of,
Yeah.
but I guess they were famous in
in
England.
England? Okay.
Yeah,
They might have been, popular in England.
yeah.
A lot of these like actors that are famous now, like Ian McKellen,
Mhm.
Derek Jacobi,
Yes.
people like that. They there are a lot of them, maybe not now, but maybe up until maybe 15 years ago, they were still doing plays
Yes.
in England. Sometimes on Broadway, they'd move it to Broadway, and you could actually see. I mean, there are certain actors. If you like a particular actor, like maybe Orlando Bloom or somebody,
Mhm.
you could actually go to England and look it up, and oh, he's in a play right now.
Yeah,
I'll go to that play
yeah.
right now, or Ian McKellen and
Yeah.
or Anthony Hopkins
Or
or somebody.
Patrick Stewart, right?
Patrick Stewart, yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart has a one-man show of The Christmas Carol where he plays all the parts. It's like a 2-hour version of
Oh,
it, and he
awesome.
does all the voices and whatever he usually did it around Christmas time, obviously, and he would, if whatever city he was in,
Uh-huh.
like New York or Los Angeles or London.
Mhm.
That was the subject. Hey, you have a theater open up for a week or 2 weeks? I'll do it. And they usually do. Oh yeah,
Cool.
Patrick Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
No better actor than him.
Engage.
He's an
Well,
American citizen now. He lives in Brooklyn.
what?
Yeah.
Why?
Strange how a lot of Brits famously would not, you know, live in America as citizens, but a few of them have in recent years. I think there's Salman Rushdie, the famous guy, famous writer, Anthony Hopkins, Patrick Stewart.
Oh yes.
I found
Anthony
out
Hopkins, yes.
Daniel Craig is an American
Daniel
citizen.
Craig.
But two James Bonds. The other one is Pierce Brosnan. Yeah,
What?
Liam Neeson. They're all
Liam-
American citizens. Well, a couple of them are Irish and a few of them are Welsh. I mentioned.
Yeah.
They're not really English. And Patrick Stewart's Scottish, so.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah.
that's right. Patrick
But
Stewart's Scottish.
and Anthony Hopkins Welsh. But I guess there's something appealing about the American way.
Yeah, and I guess that's the reason why we still live here.
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you something about the
Uh-huh.
American way. I've been doing a lot of studying in about certain like discrimination acts, and there's a lot going on right now, and it's very heady stuff, and we'll talk about it
Ooh.
another time.
All right.
I mean, in detail, but
Yeah.
I realize that they're stopping a lot. If you actually look at the laws, there are a lot of laws that said we do not discriminate in America.
Right.
No matter how much you hate a particular type of person,
Mhm.
there's probably a law protecting that person, which
Yes.
I think is a good thing because that means, I mean, one person against a system. America is great at that.
Yeah.
Other countries, if you're an oddball,
Oh,
they all or on your own.
Oh
And
yes.
so that's why, even I always consider myself a bit of an oddball. So I always feel that if I get in any sort of trouble, I could always rely on if I can get a lawyer to defend me, which I could.
Right.
There's always a lawyer to take up your case in America that you could go against. You'll have your day in court.
Yes.
Other countries, you don't do that.
That's true.
So
Yes.
so that's why a lot of people complain about capitalism and Winston Churchill said that capitalism is the worst form of government. No, it's a terrible form of government, but all the others are worse. So you do that. So anyway,
yes, that was a great show.
yeah, we're almost finished. You want to end this?
Sure.
Anything? We could do this again some other
Yes,
time.
we definitely will. We'll do this again another time. We'll have new topics and with along some old topics, and we'll talk more about our life, even though that we shouldn't. But anyway, this show of the Vinny Mac Show has a sponsor. It was brought to you by soap. It's soap. It will take care of all. It will get rid of all the skunks in your life. All you gotta do to get rid of all the skunks in your life, just give them some soap. Just wash them all away. Get rid of all your skunks, and you'll be a-okay.
This is a soap opera.
Yeah, soap opera, which is us.
All right. Well, it's good. It's good seeing you after so long.
Yes.
Let me shake your hand. Forget it. There's a pandemic. We can't do that. Anyway, thank you for watching the Vinny Mac Show.
Yay.
All right, hold off. We're gonna do it again really soon.
Yes,
Stay
we
tuned
are.
to this channel for more of our exciting adventures.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. This is the hardest part right here.